Hello and welcome to the Free Cheese, episode 651. I'm your Joe Dix, joined by Matt Soner.
Hello.
The Free Cheese is a weekly video game podcast about video games brought to you once a week by thefreecheese.com. This week, we're talking about Marathon. Not that marathon. Not that marathon. The other marathon. We will discuss our time with the game. We will share our thoughts. We'll look ahead a little bit at what's maybe to come from Bungie's new marathon. And then, of course, we will rank Marathon on the list. Before all that, Matt, what is a good legacy sequel to a classic video game? And if you can't answer that, is there a series you hope would get a legacy sequel?
So the correct answer is the 2016 Doom. As far as hopes of what is out there,
That's really good. Yeah.
uh, I don't know. I don't know. I can't think of anything.
Well, Quake 5, obviously.
That is also a good answer. We've had recent stuff though. I was thinking like, not that I guess Doom didn't have stuff either. Yeah, Quake's a good answer.
Yeah. I'm peeking at the list to see what we have that's sort of like what needs one, what could have one. I know one I hope is good that is real, weirdly enough to say in 2026, but oh shoot, I don't even know the name of it.
I thought you were saying Marathon.
I mean, I do hope that that's real. But Castlevania Belmont's Curse.
Oh right, yeah.
I would like that to be a good video game. That would be great if that were a good video game. You know what I just noticed looking at their logo? Um, they've returned to the classic Castlevania logo. They had one for a while that had like a moon for the sea, and it was more but they've gone back to the old. Interesting.
Do
That's
you think though
thrilling.
that was because of the Game Boy Advance trilogy? Because wasn't it one of those like moon related? Or am I thinking of Curse of the Moon, which is the other series?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, there was a Circle of the Moon on
Circle of
GBA.
the Moon.
I forget when the logo changed, but yeah, it shifted at one point around that mid 2000s time and then had been that way up until I guess now we can call it a slumber, not a death, because Castlevania apparently did not die. Sorry, the trailer's rolling and I'm distracted again. We're not here for Castlevania. We're here for Marathon. I do hope the new Marathon is good, albeit very different. We'll talk a bit more about the new Marathon
Touch
in a
different.
little bit. Touch different. Um, because we've got to talk about what started it all. Uh, Somewhere in the heavens they are waiting, as they say. Marathon, developed by Bungie, published by Bungie, released first on the Macintosh December 21st, 1994. The back of the box, or the best approximation of that Matt and I could find on the internet, reads: Alien forces have boarded the colony ship UESC Marathon in the Tau Ceti system, in orbit around humanity's first interstellar colony. The situation is dire, and as a security officer assigned to the Marathon, your duty is to defend the ship and its crew from the alien threat. I feel like we're missing a little bit from that. I mean, there's some rampant AI, but that's the gist of it, I suppose. I suppose.
Yeah.
Uh, First thing I had written down in my outline here is, hey, wait a second, I thought this game isn't out until Friday. Um, yeah, we're putting this episode out March 2nd. I believe that's the date. Sorry, double checking. Yes, March 2nd. And I guess Thursday is the 5th, not Friday. But yeah, Thursday is the release of Bungie's marathon. So obviously we're doing that to sync up. Um, why'd we add this one to the list?
I So I get all right. So I guess this is twofold. One, obviously, marathon is around the corner, but two, I think if I remember right, we were at a local like market diner kind of situation, both drinking coffee. I think we were looking for filler episodes to end the year last year. And remember, this game was supposed to come out late last year,
September. Yeah.
um, until someone stole some art from a certain person and put it into the game, and they got caught. Um, but I think with the dive into all the first person shooters that I made us do last year, I think we were thinking it would make sense to revisit Marathon and double dip the episode then. We just delayed it until now.
Because they delayed it until now. Yeah, we were. Um, for those who didn't join us for season 13, or if you jumped around a bit last year, um, Matt's thematic approach to the list, at least partially, was to explore the evolution of the first person shooter through a series of entries throughout the years, specifically trying to chase things, each using different engines. I think we had some repeats or like
You had
iterations, but
a couple generations of id and stuff like that, but yeah, I try
yeah.
to poke around.
But generally, we were looking around at how a first person shooter shifted. And this was one we hadn't accounted for, but knowing its influence, knowing the fact that we've talked about Halo on the podcast before, we had that as one of our, was it 2 years back? I
Yes,
forget what year we
yes,
actually, yeah.
yes.
Um, that year we did a big sort of like tent pole where we each had these like we had a pair of
We aim for number one
game.
on the list
Yeah,
when
we
we
had a pair of
normally
game
don't.
to try and overtake the throne. And yeah, we spent, did we do 2 or 3 episodes on Halo? And like, I think Marathon made sense to explore. And it makes even more sense now. I Prior to this, what was your history with Marathon? Your familiarity with it? Did you play it before?
I never played it before. Obviously, this is like years after the fact from after like Halo. I'm like probably it's like post Halo, even maybe even 4 is when I discovered Bungie had a whole series of games on the Mac.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, funny enough, back when, and they were much like Doom back in the day. You know, they kind of similarly played to that, but it were more so in space. And honestly, that's kind of what I knew of it. I've gathered, I've seen different screens and snippets of gameplay and stuff since then, but I really didn't know how this thing really like played, progressed, all that stuff until really jumping in the last couple weeks here.
Yeah, I think we have a similar history. Like I did not I always kind of knew like Bungie had done a thing before that because I remember the story that like Halo was announced at Macworld 99 or 2000. It was meant to be a Macintosh exclusive, like, and that was the big
RTS.
deal with it. Yeah, yeah, right. But that was the big deal when Microsoft bought Bungie and made it an Xbox exclusive because it was literally like one, it was giving them a flagship title, but two, it was taking it away from Apple. And but I'd never known of it, any more than that. Thankfully, there's a project called the Aleph One project, I believe,
Yes.
um, that has since the late '90s worked to make this game more playable, and it's only gotten better and better. But now, like, you can download all three of the original Marathon trilogy straight from Steam. You can download them right from the Aleph One website. They're maintained and they run natively, easily on Mac. I assume Windows. You played on
Played
Windows,
through
right?
Steam. And the
Yeah,
Steam edition, I didn't even have to go chasing the LF1 stuff. Some of that stuff was baked in.
yeah. So I guess the Aleph One stuff had been like distributed on its own for a while, and then in 2024 they actually worked with Bungie to officially release it through Steam. So that you're getting kind of the best of it all. in that iteration. I had played it before. I've actually had all three of the games installed on this computer because their install size is like nothing.
Yeah.
So I've had them installed on this computer for like as long as I've had it, and I've played through the campaign like I've never finished it until now, but like played through enough of it and then like kind of come back to it, play a couple levels, forget where I am or what's happening and restart. But I think really like clicking into it, obviously when we play something for the podcast, it's a little bit different anyway, but doing that and like being a little bit more intentional about playing it rather than just wandering, like I now it clicked finally. Um but I'm also I kind of knowing what I knew about this, it made me skeptical at first when they announced this new marathon of like, why are you going multiplayer with it? We'll do more on that later. But yeah, I mean, kind of knowing the like rich single player history that this trilogy had, plus the Halo stuff later on, it seemed odd to depart from that. When there's seemingly a lot of story. I mean, there's definitely a lot of story and a lot more you could probably do in that world. But um, you kind of set it up before. It's generally like a Doom clone, uh, broadly speaking. How else would you describe Marathon's gameplay? Because it's not quite just a first-person shooter, right?
Um, I mean, no, you're doing the puzzle things and whatnot. I would say its unique take on the genre is kind of how it conveys the story, its checkpointing system, and level progression. I would and or I should say stage 1 to stage 2 type of progression. Um, with there being objectives and things of that nature, where something like Doom, Blood, Power Slave to an extent, it's a lot of stuff that I mentioned the stuff we've played on this for this podcast. A lot of point A to point B.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Doom has some key cards, um,
Yeah,
but nothing where it was like go make sure you destroy this thing before coming back here and get into a terminal too early is like not yet to go do this thing.
yep,
Um, it gives you like the mission objectives in a game, you know, that you don't. Yeah, I probably have not seen that a lot at this time.
yeah, and there's a lot of winding and like interconnected areas that are connected in
Yeah,
weird ways, and yeah,
yeah,
um, which like one of my first notes I took when playing though was like it is kind of easy to bumble your way through a level and stumble into the objectives. Kind of. Not always. I think some levels are a little more obtuse than others, and I had to like peek occasionally, but I had a really good time or good streak early on with just being able to like wander, figure it out, use the in-game map, use the maps provided by the different terminals by the AI. Um, it I think it does a good job at like keeping you immersed in the world and forcing you to kind of use the terminal system, which is a big that was something that kind of surprised me with the game was like the reliance on terminals to guide you as a player but also give you the narrative of the story, um sort of give you the background too, like most of the game's lore is it's so funny too because like you and I both played a lot of Destiny 2. You played Destiny 1 where like the lore was even more obscured. Um, but even going back to this, it's like you can see this is just sort of the Bungie DNA where there's so much more story to tell not in the game. Um, and I guess Halo had that to an extent too, if you think about the novels and everything else with that. But yeah, was there anything else? The terminals were a big surprise for me. Was there anything else for you that like you weren't expecting going into this?
some of the story beats now, like you just said, a lot of it went over my head. But I like what I was
Yeah.
understanding was cool. It's almost
Mm-hmm.
like it was almost like Destiny to an extent back in the day. Like there's some cool stuff here, but a lot of this I'm not going out to seek. Um,
Yeah.
No, like the story. Shades of System Shock were flooding back to me
Oh yeah,
with the
very much so.
AI stuff and you just exploring and trying to survive in a ship. Um, Obviously, gameplay is a little bit different, but no, definitely shades of the same story were going on.
Yeah, a lot of that. I did. I liked, as you as you go through and you learn more. I think to what you just said, like there's parts of it that stuck with me. Other parts where I'm like scanning, reading text, and I'm like, I'm moving on. Like I don't. I'm
Because
just gonna
I mean,
go.
it's not just like a few lines. Like it's not like a Resident Evil note where once in a
No,
blue moon you get one that's a few pages. It's
no.
like
Sometimes it's like
walls of text,
a
multiple
huge wall.
pages
Yeah.
of walls of text.
Um, but I will say it did drive me to, and I still there's more I want to do before the new game launches. It drove me to a lot of like YouTube marathon historians. Like I'm like I'm in. I want to learn more because I don't think I'm gonna play 2 and 3 before the new one
Nah.
drops this week. Um, but I'm curious to see like learn as much as I can lore wise going into this new one to see if any of it is relevant. I mean, it's funny that when we saw the trailer for the new one, like I had no real context. I knew what the main like what are they called, the fighters in this game, the main enemies you fight.
The four or whatever.
Well, yeah, the four, but like the guys with the
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, like I knew what those looked like. So when we saw the first trailer for the new marathon, like I didn't really see any of those, and it didn't. Maybe they're there. I don't know. I have to go back and look. I've been like in between the two, but rewatching stuff now that I've played this and seeing the Svit in the new trailer, I was like, ooh, like I can connect some dots now, and I there is there's a thread here. Um, anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. But yeah, I mean, I think that's something that Bungie always does well is create a world that has a lot of depth to it if you're willing to engage with it. And in some cases, you're kind of forced to engage with it here. Others, you can kind of breeze through. But I think the more you chase it, the more you'll get out of it. Um, and the more it explains a lot of what how we got there. There's some like timeline stuff that overlaps with like our own reality. Um, yeah, what about this game was kind of exactly like you expected?
The moment to moment gameplay, I think. Just fighting, having a number of weapons, you're slowly accumulating more weapons and ammo and a little bit, not a ton, but some ammo management, keeping an eye on your heavy weapons. Um that kind of typical shooter or that kind of gameplay from a shooter of this era. That's not changing much from something we've played before.
Were there any weapons that surprised you or
Um Surprised? Not really. Um, I mean, it kind of made sense that we got like an energy pistol and whatever. Um, I like the one weird weapon in this game is the alien weapon where it's a drop,
mm-hmm.
but when you consume all his ammo, it doesn't stay in your thing. You have to go pick up another one that would have full ammo. So that was like a unique weapon take on a weapon in this game. But most of it's your standard fare. Um,
Everything else is refill. The one thing with the alien weapon too, though, it like reminds you of,
the
and I will
plasma
talk more about the Halo comparisons. Yeah,
blaster.
but
Yeah.
like a lot of that stuff.
Um, I would say I think the unique thing about these weapons, though, a bunch of them is some kind of secondary fire, which is unique.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you're getting a lot of this at this time, but like the assault rifle has a grenade launcher on it. But even more things like
Which
the
is like an imperative
yeah. Oh well,
tool
yeah. It
throughout the
becomes almost like a key at times.
yeah.
But like even the energy pistol, if you hold it in, it does a charger, a charged attack. I'm trying to think of some of the other alternate um Alternate fire. There's a couple of them. I can't remember them all now. But yeah, I thought that was interesting, an interesting take on some of them.
Um, I don't know where I want to go next with this. I mean, I guess the only other bit I have here, like my next note, and I wrote this pretty early on within the first few stages, is uh how much I did not like the checkpointing system in the game. Not that I don't know if we want to jump into criticisms just yet, if I'm too early.
We can, cause I have a love hate relationship with it.
Sure.
Um,
Tell me more.
so I this is one of the only notes I have like written down. I kind of liked how it wasn't at first. I think I come back to eat my words a little bit, but at first I kind of liked how the game wasn't saving between stages, where these checkpoints weren't always at the beginning of levels because it would like push you enough into the next stage where you're like, well, I got to finish this stage now. I got into it, and then before you know, you do like three more times, and then you're finally
Mm.
stopping. I kind of like that idea. I like the idea of you returning back to a save point after you've cleared out an area or have gotten ammo or healed back up to resave. Feels very much very RPG, Final Fantasy like, go into save spots at strategic times. Um, so I kind of liked it from that angle. They become more scarce in the later levels, and finding them is sometimes too far into a level, and it feels very much like, oh my god, I just lost all this progress after I saved at the typewriter in Resident Evil an hour and a half ago. Um, but I think I liked this game enough where after I cooled off, trust me, I got mad. I think you have a series of text messages on your phone from me, and
Right.
like after I cooled off, I was itching to play it again, and I kind of had no problem jumping back in and retracing my steps a little bit. And I didn't have that fire in my chest of like just hatred.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so yeah, I said, I think it's a love hate thing. I think it's gonna depend on how you approach the game, and to an extent, kind of like being self conscious to go back to those save points at various times. But that's also where like when you check into a terminal, you're not sure. Like sometimes it just takes you to the next level, and you didn't really kind of mean to, but that's just kind of how the game
Yeah.
progresses. So that those two things in the wrong combination can catch you off, and that's where those frustrating moments can really happen.
Yeah, that the ones I remember the most were the any of the levels with some like a modicum of tedium to the objective completion,
Mm-hmm.
where you've got to like really like weave in and out of things and do very specific like that kind of stuff. Especially in a level where like maybe your most recent save did not have the best, like you didn't have as much ammo as you maybe need. You know what I mean? Like your resources were low and you're just sort of stuck running that. And that's not the game necessarily as much as it is a fault of like that classic style of system. And I think it's a reflection, like I think my aversion to it is reflection of the modern realities and comfort that we have with video games kind of holding your hand very gingerly. And yeah, because same thing. I've been playing through Persona 1 on PSP, and there's been multiple times where I've like played. It's been like my bedtime game. Like I'll sit down and play for like 30 minutes to an hour in bed before falling asleep. And there's been plenty of times where I go to bed with zero progress compared to the night before because everything I did, I made one stupid move. Everyone got wiped. Up. Oh, all right, cool, great. Guess I'm gonna turn it off because I'm not doing that again. And it's, you're gaining experience. And I think like today we end up having this sort of we've like commodified time in a way. And we look at that like that the how long to beat has really infected us, I think, as video game players, where like we're constantly stuck thinking like, well, how much of my time is this going to take? And it's like you forget like you're playing a video game. Granted, like I think you and I have to be a little considerate of that when we're doing stuff for the podcast, just because we do so many games every year. But I think outside of that, like the idea of a game should not be, it shouldn't be a chore. Although my tune might change later this week. Um, I wandered from that, but yeah, I think that's my thing is like it it can get frustrating, but it's also sort of we're spoiled now to have games sort of take care of us and give us these like clean, easy checkpoints and things like that. Something else I was playing recently, like actually, yeah, for in 2 weeks, another game we'll be talking about. That one, like, if you die, you reloaded a checkpoint and you're fully restocked on ammo, which is nice. And it's very clean about checkpoints. So it's like a slight or significant contrast to how Marathon would roll, where you're really, things are scarce. Um, Speaking of resources, this game has an interesting health pickup system. I really liked it, like a
Yeah.
lot. Um, I guess I don't know and I'm not expecting you to, but maybe there's something you caught in there that I didn't. Do you know the science behind it or the technology reason why?
Nope.
All right.
I'm just happy it was unlimited.
Yes, it was.
Farm
I,
that from
we
time to time.
Yeah, we shared some strategies at some point when we were playing this, and that was one of mine that I kind of picked up on was like just sometimes it makes sense to even if you have to backtrack a little bit, go and do that and just refill your health. And I like that later on you get different health stations that it's not overcharging your health, but you get like higher
Yeah, like a
tiers
2x,
of
3x. Yep.
yeah, those are nice. Um, Other than that, from a gameplay perspective, like I think this does very much the 90s shooter thing of creating these enemy closets and enemy clusters all the way up through the final stage where you're just bombarded with waves of things. Um, yeah, nothing, no big surprise there. Um, do we have to do any other like story overview? I've got a couple like short sentences I jotted down that kind of keep track. Does that help or?
I mean, sure. I mean, to my the only thing that really, well, I guess, you are entering the colony or trying to enter the colony, then your ship gets overtaken, and ship gets overtaken, and then you end up kind of fighting towards the ship. The only thing I kind of gets lost on me is where the Sfit and the Four start warring against each other, and then the Sfit are kind of like non-lethal, or they don't engage with you towards the end of the game. That was like one of the spots that I got lost, and then I kind of just at that point stopped trying to guess on whose side things were or not.
Yeah, the only thing I have regarding that is like I'm pretty sure Durandal communicates with them and that's what triggers their shift. But yeah, they become friendly and they start attacking the four instead of you. Um, but yeah, other than that, I mean, earlier on you can kind of get even you can get the four to attack one another, similar to like Doom making the monsters
Yeah.
attack. Um, but yeah, otherwise that's kind of it. I don't have anything jotted down for like the why behind it. Um, the game itself, the other thing we didn't talk about necessarily is the AIs. So there's Leela, Tycho, and Durandal. Durandal goes rampant, and then his plan, or its plan, is to uh, use the distraction of the four invasion to become godlike and leave the ship. Um, and I mean, spoilers for the end. Durandal leaves the ship.
Further
You kind of
spoilers:
just get this
Marathon 2 has the subtitle Durandale.
Durandal. Yeah, exactly. So, um, yeah, and that all kind of happens like another unceremonious sort of ending.
Yeah, to
Um,
an extent.
yeah, at least like I think you read a terminal, it fits right. Like you kind of read a terminal bit, explaining what happened, and then that's it. And then you get one little like splash screen of
Full text.
yeah, um, that ends with Durandal was laughing.
It's super unceremoniously too when you realize you were on the last level and you kind of looked up a level skip and figured it out and nailed it, and then that was the end of the game.
So walk through that. What did you do there?
So on Bungie's on that marathon.bungie.org site on the spoiler map for the Ingay Farouk, um,
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
for that stage, it says that if you point, um, go towards the help thing at the beginning of the room and kind of like walk left and angle yourself and aim down. If you do two rockets in a row, it propels you up enough to um, where the terminal is in that room. Because what you do in that level, you essentially have to kind of keep going and around and around and around these circles, and then the last part of it puts you into a lava pit, and then from the lava pits you jump out, and then you kind of land on these platforms, and then you kind of go to the last terminal, and it all falls and comes back to that last room. However, um, you can rocket jumping is a thing, and with the health
Yeah.
thing being so close, and it was a 3x, you can get enough health to rocket jump. And yeah, if you angle, it took me quite a few rockets and reloads of a save, that I specifically, after the first time of screwing it up, made sure I was as clean of a save so I can walk from point A to point B and
Yeah,
start the
yeah.
level again. It took probably about 5 reloads, but I got the angle and I jumped up and I did it. I probably would have beaten the level properly or beat my head against the wall knowing if that was the last level, but the way this marathon website makes some of
Oh
the
yeah.
levels look, it jumps from map 26, which is the last level, to map 27, but 27 through 36 are the network levels. They're the multiplayer levels. So it wasn't clear that I was at the end of the game. And so, yes, I
Yeah,
beat it
you feel like you're in
unceremoniously.
the like you're just starting like the back quarter of the game when in fact you're at the end.
Yeah, and I was like looking
Um,
at the sub chapters too. I was like, man, Rebellion's one hell of a chapter
really
compared to
runs on.
everything else.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I did not realize that. And especially like the last little bit where you get to the terminal, like it's one of those sections in marathon where you can easily, if you're not aiming and moving at the right speed, like you can just fall. Because this game like almost wants to be a platformer at times, but there's no jump button. You just have to like aim and align. And yeah, there's one stage earlier on where you, it's the first time I remembered at least, the one where you have to kind of hit a button or a series of switches to like raise stairs. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh
There's like,
yeah,
yeah, there's little like pillars. There's weird stuff like that all kind of throughout it. Flamethrower's dope. I have that written down here. Um,
yeah. I didn't use
yeah.
that until towards the end when ammo was getting tight and other stuff, and I realized how quickly it burned what the
Just
like
melts.
the warriors or whatever, the ones that had guns, the troopers.
Troopers. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
It just melted. It was awesome.
Yeah. All of the monsters or aliens, the enemies in the game, for the most part, they have colored tiers that kind of signify their level.
Yeah,
Um,
rank level, kind of what to expect attack wise, because our first friends, the fighters, the ones with the staffs, like only some of them throw projectiles, others are melee.
yeah.
So the color gives that indication too.
Yeah, you've got that. Usually yeah, there's a certain tier that they drop faster with fewer shots, and then yeah, they're also more aggressive as they rank up. A lot of names kind of carry between this and Halo later on, which is funny. Yeah. Um, Anything else to you, like gameplay wise, we didn't hit on before we move into visuals? Talk a bit about visuals.
No, I think we kind of hit everything there.
Yeah, I know we're not like deep, but I think we like hit on the generalities of the game and like kind of what you're doing. You're kind of doing that for 26 levels. Um, Engage with terminal, figure out objective, complete objective, move on to next stage. Um, and I think to kind of sum that up, what you said too, like the fact that you engage with the terminal, uh, what's the phrasing, like press when ready to teleport or something, like
Yes,
teleport ready,
yeah.
transport when ready. Um, like I think that's a nice a nice way to signify the end of a level, but also like it's very like in world. I really appreciated that. Every time I did it, it did not get old at all. Um, Visuals. Does this game look like anything specific to you?
I don't know if you're looking for an answer or not.
I'm not. No, like to me, playing it, I just kind of felt like I think in my head I'd always thought of this game as like it's another Doom, but like it really does have its own visual identity that kind of really
Is it a
it's like there.
Halo visual identity?
I don't know.
I mean,
There's lineage.
I think like the colony ship that you're on stands out as like a typical ship fare, but like you go to the alien ship and things get purple all of a sudden. What the hell does that remind you of?
Yeah, that's very much so. Yeah, once you're there. I guess speaking of that, like when you're in that whole section on the four ship, um, also I love the name of the four as well. Like I know when you're hearing us say four, or if you're reading a transcript of this podcast, it's probably spelling it out FOUR, but it's PFHOR. I like that a lot. I don't know why, but I really yes, I appreciate that. But yeah, when you're on the four ship, a lot of levels with low or no lighting, like you're lighting up things as you're shooting, which was really nice. Um,
Yeah, you
so
usually
that's
hear
definitely
the enemy before you see them.
yeah. I was gonna try and impersonate one, but I don't. I feel like I forget the sound now. I had it in my head, now it's gone. The other thing visually that stood out to me really was the design of the Sphit. I think they're so cool looking. Like it's the first time in a long time where I've looked at an enemy in a game and I've been it's like sick. I really dig it. Like it's creepy, it's ominous, it just kind of floats.
Yeah, it's awkward to run into them for the first level because they look so more threatening than
Yes.
what they actually are.
Yes.
Yeah, it's something to do with like they look like a high priest, but they're
Yeah.
robots, so they can't be
Yes.
practicing that.
And
No.
you know, if they're advanced enough, I
And then
guess.
when you open up their apron, they just float, or like there's no legs. So
No, it's
yeah,
just a guy or it's just a thing.
yeah,
It's yeah, they're really unsettling. They're so because I think the main warriors you fight like they have different levels of threat about them, but visually they're just sort of like okay. And then once you take out a few, like you kind of know what they are. The I felt like the Svit. I always felt like if you've not played the game, the Svit are like the from like the up upper chest up to shoulders and everything. It's just like a chrome looking shoulder pad with a full face helmet, and then the rest of it is just like a draping red cloak, and there's an orb in the center of their like chest stomach area. They're just haunting a little bit. They're weird. I like them, but yeah, they're relatively easy to take out. Relatively. Um, in terms of like level design, map design, were there any levels that were particularly aggravating or trying?
Um, the last one is frustrating, and the last one's frustrating because the last little bit you're forced to walk through lava, so you have to have a certain
Level.
health. Even if you run it perfectly, you have to have a certain health threshold to even survive. And that was my biggest problem with that level. It was not getting there. It was having enough health to survive the lava pit, or running it optimally enough if I did, if I did have just enough. So I would say that last level sticks out. Um, the one is just tedious, and it is not hard. It's just tedious. But the ones where you have to go into the bays and manipulate the platforms to successfully ascend.
Oh yeah.
And if you're like two of them are kind of vaguely close, and it's not the big deal. There's this first one though that you have to like go all the way back to like the first third of the map when you're in the last third of it trying to manipulate this. That one slightly frustrating. But more so just because you have to deal with it in a game. Like again, you're trying to ascend these platforms that you're raising. You have to raise them in these small little increments because there's no jump button, like you said. But your character can kind of like go up like a tiny little step.
Just like
It's
the littlest bit.
so like you have to use that to your advantage to get up this platform, which is an interesting experience of patience.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, those were the big ones. I almost soft locked myself on one.
Mm-hmm.
But I got out of it by using the napalm to lift myself up over a platform. So that was interesting.
How did the napalm lift you up?
I think it glitched because the back wall was like the green poison goo, and I
Uh,
think it glitches out and it
okay.
raises you up without harm. Don't know
Okay.
how, don't know why, but I was able to get myself out
Who
of a
cares? It
soft
works.
lock situation because of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, that's tricky. Um, I like the map. All these old games like have really spoiled me where you just hit M for map, pull it up,
Love it.
and yeah. This does the thing too that Doom does, and anything like of this era where if I can't quite figure out how to get through something, sometimes if I know the area is safe, I'll just turn the map on and play that way, like with the arrow. And then it doesn't always work because you're still up against like locked doors or things, but sometimes you suddenly find a breakthrough hallway that your eyes weren't seeing in the other view, which is nice. Transitioning a bit into sound, the game generally is pretty ambient. Um, the enemies have different sound effects about them. Obviously, like combat has sound, but otherwise, like there's not a ton of music. There is music. It's not without music, but it's used sparingly to the point where you kind of like it feels isolating. You feel like you're on a cold, dark ship that's been invaded by aliens. Surprisingly, um, I, I don't know if I have much more on that. Do you have anything else on sound that stood out to you?
No, I do like the little intro sequence to the game where it talks about there's something in the heavens, or what's the tagline?
Oh yeah, they're somewhere in the heavens. They are waiting.
Yeah, I do like the little jingle. Well, it's not really a jingle, but for lack of a better term, jingle
Yeah,
um,
yeah,
at the main menu screen there. But yeah, like you said, it's pretty ambient, but all the enemies stick out where you kind of know what you're about to encounter through the dark hallway that's up ahead, without seeing them, and you kind of have to you brace yourself accordingly.
yeah.
Um, yeah, but that's about I guess all I have.
So kind of as we prepare to rank this on the list, a couple more questions, just generally about the game. What does this do that we did not get to see in last year's exploration of first-person shooters?
Um, well, for its era, I think it does storytelling in a unique way. Like I said, a lot of it goes over my head, but like Blood had, like when you think back to Blood, we kind of didn't know what was going on after the first chapter because kind of got thrown into stuff. Doom, you don't really. I think what there's some splash screens before chapters. I think if I remember correctly.
Doom 2016.
No, I meant like just regular Doom. I'm thinking of like that era of game.
Oh, just in the era. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Uh,
So I know we didn't necessarily play Doom
yeah.
for the list, that Doom anyway, but
Yeah, there was stuff like that, and then I mean, a lot of the story was like, I think published on id's website and
Yeah,
stuff.
okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
like yeah.
Um, so yeah, you're getting a lot of that. You're getting a lot of storytelling told through the terminals and stuff like that. Yeah, we see it. Like if we would have played the original System Shock, we would have seen that there to an extent. But
Mhm.
no, I think for being a more traditional game and not like an RPG heavy thing like a System Shock would have been, I think storytelling is the unique aspect here.
Yeah, I think I agree. Um the way that it like builds the narrative, keeps you in the world, keeps you immersed, and the way that like the storytelling pushes you forward literally. Like it's not just like, oh, I'm intrigued to learn more, but like you literally have to engage with the story in order to, or not literally, you physically have to engage with the story through the terminals to make your way forward in the game.
And they even play. We didn't mention this, but they even play with that on the alien ship, where the AI tells you
Mm-hmm.
we can't teleport you, but if you get within our, if you can see us, we can get you out. And it's literally that's how you get out of those levels. You have to look for the window where you can see the ship, and then if you've
Yeah,
done everything correctly, after like a second, it teleports you to the next level, which was
yeah,
something I didn't realize I was doing until like the third time it happened. But once I realized it happened, it was cool.
yeah. I like that a lot. A lot of nice touches like that throughout the game. Um, did you like Marathon
I did.
overall?
I did.
Were you surprised to like it?
I don't think I was surprised to like it. I would think I was just surprised by some the mechanics of like how you play the game, like with the health systems, with the terminals, with the save checkpoints. I think that stuff was the I didn't realize it did that. I thought it was just another, get the key cards, go to the end of the stage and whatever.
Yeah. And it was a little bit more than that. I was surprised by it. I'm really happy we played it. I'm I'm really like the thing that surprised me, not that I liked it, but I'm surprised at how much I was engaged with the story. Like I said earlier in the episode, like I'm I don't think there's any way I'll ever like fully learn all this stuff, but I'm excited to like let people on YouTube who've paid more attention to this stuff summarize it all for me.
So I
And I'm
probably
really excited.
okay.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say I probably clocked 3 hours of audio telling me what to do while I was in bed dreaming. So I think I've had some weird marathon like
Yeah.
inspired dream things happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been falling asleep listening to some of the lore just to try to get it and
Yeah.
understand it a little bit better. One, just coming into
Because
this episode, but then two, just so that way I know some of that cool shit, some of the fan servicey. Like I think the new
yeah,
marathon you can walk in just fine. They're gonna have to do that, but I want to
sure.
see some of that fan servicey stuff as well and be like, I remember
I
that.
agree. And because I'm assuming this game's going to be pretty living, I think that we're going to get a lot of things like week over week with it where, it's going to be like, oh, this is the thing that ties back to Marathon 3 or whatever. So like that's the stuff where I'm intrigued to see how everything's connected, I suppose. Um I guess my last question before we rank it is how much Halo did you see in Marathon? Or rather, how much Marathon do you think you see in Halo?
Um, there's definitely the Halo thing. Like I said, you get the alien weapon, which is essentially the purple plasma like rifle. Um, the purple architecture and the alien ship is definitely of a Covenant design. The
Yeah.
hunters,
Yeah.
the hunters are the hunters literally in this game. It's
Yeah.
kind of wild to see. But I think some of it still stands out on its own. I think you get, I know you get that green a lot on the characters and whatever, and that green kind of persist over. But yeah, I like it's there, but I think they're two different IPs with
No,
some
they're very unique. Yeah.
with some winks and nods to each other.
Yeah. Like what's the isn't it UNSC
Yes.
in Halo, and this is yeah UESC. Obviously the main logo of Marathon is what Oni in Halo, or no, it's not Oni. I forget.
I
Or
know.
maybe that's the logo for the
I forget.
UNSC. Yeah, I don't remember. Um, I'll look it up while we transition to rank this video game. If you're new to the
Oh,
podcast, every episode we rank video games.
the watcher got a sneak peek of the marathon spoiler guide. I didn't realize I was in Safari with these tabs. Oh shoot! I could have brought. Oh well, here, watcher, viewer.
If you're watching.
This is the Sphint. I didn't realize I had it here. I would have showed it earlier.
Ah, yeah,
This is the
Good.
yes, the like the chrome shoulders, head. You got the cool little dread going off the back of the head, and then yeah, the cloak with
Yeah.
the stuff in the middle. And these are all the different views of the art and stuff. Um, yeah, that's it. Now back to the list.
Um. Yeah. We rank these video games every week on a list we call the list that you can see on the screen right now if you're watching the video version. If you're not and you want to play along at home, thefreecheese.com/the list is where you can go and check out all 173 games we've ranked so far. We're adding another one today. Um, I believe you went first last time.
Yes,
I will
you should.
elect a video game or elect a place for this on the list. I'm gonna start. I'm just gonna toss it out, and we'll see where we go. I landed at the new 97,
New 97.
below Jet Grind Radio, and above Windjammers 2.
The new 97. All right.
Mm.
I'm gonna throw one. I'm gonna throw a number out there. This is the new 42.
Okay.
Um,
Huh.
Again, I know there is probably, like I said, I know there is one thread in our text message history that probably you thought this was gonna go another way, but I literally did the thing I said I was gonna do. I went back to the other game I was playing. I cooled down, and then after about 24 hours, I got the itch to play it again, and that's when I beat it. Um, I like this game. I think it does a unique thing. I think it stands out from like Power Slave and Blood. That I think they stand out more for their aesthetic than their gameplay. This does it with aesthetic and gameplay to an extent. I think the lore. This is going to be like the Elden Ring thing for me as I kind of deep dive into this stuff. Like, I think the Elden Ring lore, from what I understood, was cool. And as I've learned more of it, and then the DLC came out to explore even more of it, I thought it got even cooler. I think I'm in the same trajectory with this game where I think what I
Mm-hmm.
know is cool, but I know it is going to get cooler once I finally connect more dots from what I played. And like I said, I don't think I'm rushing out to play Marathon 2 or Infinity before the new Marathon comes out.
Yeah.
But if like you said, it's a living, breathing game, and they're like, oh, something from Marathon 2 is going to be a big thing, or they do the dumb thing that they do nowadays where they send the care package to their main streamers and everyone connects the dots that is going to be story related content from Durandale. That might be the thing that pushes me over the edge.
Yeah.
Anyway, suffice to say, I think what it does unique with the story stuff, unlike we've seen with other games from this era, I think it makes it stand out. So I made sure I put it above like Blood and Power Slave, and I kind of just like was like looking and looking, and I kind of just was like, oh, I think right below Parasite Eve and Space Channel 5 right below Parasite Eve, above Space Channel 5 is kind of where I kind of fell.
Yeah, I don't disagree with your placement, and I think I like it as much as you like it too, for a lot of those same reasons. Like it's challenging, but it's not like
It's doable.
yeah, it's fully doable. And there's difficulty. We didn't talk about that, but like you can change
Yeah.
difficulty levels, and there's I forget what they are, but like yeah, if it's something like that that's bothering you, you can easily switch that around. Um,
And
I
you
don't think they prompt you to do it when you start. I think you have to
know,
like go dig for it. Yeah, um,
um,
but yeah, it's doable.
and you can play mouse and keyboard, or you can go full masochist. I played the entire game all keyboard.
I forgot to ask. Yeah, I wanted to bring that up. Yeah, you stuck with that.
I
That's
all
insane.
the entire way.
You don't need to like, especially the LF1 port of this or
Nope.
conversion. Like it's
I
got
went for
full
it.
free look.
Fuck it. I went for it.
That's wild,
It's not
wild,
because
wild.
it's not as crazy as Quake. Like Quake, I think uses its 3D a touch more than what this did, so it's a little
Sure.
bit more approachable than something like Quake.
Yeah, I could see that. That said, as much as I like it, the reason I hit at 97 was really just because of the stuff that's in between, where I'm just like, I like this, but I think I like, and this is the bane of the list.
Yeah, I
Um,
I get that because I think I could like easily fall to an extent as well. Um, I was just looking at kind of some of the stuff. It seemed like that first big gap where was like the for me like the Civ, the Hypnospace, Brain Age, Ape Escape. Like I think I like that like this better than all those. I think I can come in hindsight maybe come down from Left 4 Dead a touch, maybe 43, 44 in retrospect, but yeah, I mean there's definitely stuff between me and you that I think I do like better. I just went high because I wanted to go
yeah,
high.
no, I'm with it because I think like to your point, I do like this more than Power Slave. I like this more than Blood. I like this more than Quake 4, and all of those are above where I am right now. Um,
But like I
I
could even
do,
fall like I could fall so like I'm looking at Metroid Other M right now. System Shock, and then we come back into System Shock and Def Jam. Like I could also fall back to the low 50s, high 60s because I know your Dino Crisis 2 is hanging out there.
I know that's the weird stuff. Like, I think I like Other M more than this.
I think I do
But I
too.
like, but I like this more than Wolfenstein.
Well,
Is
is
that
that
where
it?
we?
Is that it? 57?
Yeah, because yeah, there's maybe some stuff above Other M that I like this more than, but no, I think this makes sense. Maybe that's it. I think that's the spot.
Yeah, because
57.
I don't want to come down too much because I think Resident Evil
No.
5 was like my floor.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't want to fall either. This game's good. You should play Marathon. 1994.
What was the file number? So I
Um,
can point to what the cursor
Final
57 or
number
57.
57. Below Metroid Other M, above Return to Castle Wolfenstein. There you have it. Congrats to Marathon. Um, what are you hoping for with this new one?
I I kind of allude to this. It's like in my opening sentence in my review, but like I don't know. As I've uncovered more of the Bungie fucking IPs, they have this weird secret sauce that just resonates with me in playing the game. I know this is a little bit different than Halo. Like Halo and Destiny are kind of two peas in a pod, more so than this game. But I
Yeah, yeah.
have fun shooting a gun in this game because some of the weapons were cool. I just hope the gunplay's there. I just want to enjoy playing it. Um, yeah, I just want to enjoy playing it. I don't. I know the extraction stuff. I think that's going to be hit or miss for me just as a genre in its whole. Um, but yeah, if I can hop in and just have a good time for like an hour or two, whether it's with
Yeah.
you or by myself or whatever, that's kind of all I want.
Yeah, the shooting, the atmosphere. I do want a little bit of story, but I'm also knowing how it was with Destiny 2 at like the peak of my time with Destiny 2 and getting into the story stuff where I had to seek that elsewhere. I'm fine with that and I'm happy to do that. I've got a stable of YouTubers lined up to teach me.
I think you'll get that. Not that I played. I did not play Arc Raiders, so I know this is probably chasing more of the Arc Raiders thing, and that seems to have kind of solidified what an extraction shooter should be. But like when I played DMZ for Call of Duty for that little bit of time, it was very focused on like, hey, like go in, of course, get the shit, get the loot, but there was also like very objective based things to go do as like something to aim for in the world instead of just mindlessly looting, and you got the story stuff spun out of those objectives. So I think you'll get
Yeah.
some of that to an even more extent because again, this was just DMZ, which is one of like the 8 modes now in Call of Duty. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I think you'll get more of that in Marathon. I don't know if Arc Raiders does it like that. I'm gonna assume they do to some extent.
Yeah. Probably.
But yeah, I'm excited. I like the class based thing. That's definitely his unique hook. Like 2 or 3 of the classes seem really cool. So
The only thing I'm not looking forward to is, I'm not great, and I'm gonna screw this up for us, and that's the part I really don't want to do.
nah, I'm
I
not
know,
worried.
dude,
I'm not
but
worried about it.
like,
One, I'm not worried about it. Two, you got me in your corner over voice chat because I will be playing on
yeah,
PC.
it's true.
I will have the push to
Are you
talk
doing
button.
okay? Yeah,
I will have the push to
I was
talk
curious
button,
where you were.
and I will approach situations as a friendly until things seem bad.
We'll have to figure out what that looks like. I might end up just I don't know, because I want to be able to talk with you, but maybe it makes sense to do the proximity chat
It's weird. I mean,
thing.
I've
I don't
seen not that I've played it, but I've seen clips of Arc Raiders, and there's very much like, hey, I'm over here. I'm not coming near you. Just let's walk our separate
Yeah,
ways. I've seen dumb things too, whereas like, all right, let's have a duel and just see what happens. Everyone's just on board and they count to 3 or whatever. There's some weird shit like that in Arc Raiders. I don't know how this community is gonna be, but
yeah,
the I think there's opportunity for voice chat and some of this stuff.
that could be fun. Yeah, I don't want to miss that. But yeah, I also know, like, that's been my worry with this game from the start, is like, it's PvPvE, and it's permadeath, right? Like, you're getting knocked out and you're losing your stuff. Like, I know, we'll see. It'll have to be a ride. Um, if you've not played the original Marathon, go do it. Turns out it's the 57th best game. So
You gotta stop saying that. It gets on this list and it's
uh,
X that game. It's that good. Yeah.
it is that. And then if you're playing the new one, look for Matt and I, because we'll be out wandering around,
Tal City 4.
seeing how it goes. Yeah, welcome to Tal City 4. I am also worried about the like live service part of this. Like, how long before this becomes what we hated in Destiny 2? You know what I mean?
I again, this is me saying that without ever playing Arc Raiders and ever really investing in all these. There is no way the Marathon main menu at network login, when you log in and the first thing presented to you, there is no way it's as busy or as crowded as Destiny 2 is right now. There is no way.
And I hope it never gets there.
I hope it's like I hope there's like 4 buttons. A party button, which I hope is just in the corner with like a triangle or whatever the key is, like a
Yeah,
tab
yeah.
or whatever. And I hope there's like 3 buttons, like options, quick game, launch. Like that's all I
Yeah.
need. Oh, I
I don't
guess
need much more than
sorry,
that.
4 you need inventory.
Customization.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But
And then when you hit play, you
yeah.
load in, you equip whatever you're bringing with you, and then you hit go, and you're ready up, and we go in.
Mm, yeah.
That's the
We'll see.
dream.
We'll have more on Marathon in a couple weeks because we'll be doing kind of a new thing this season where we do quarterly roundups. Or whatever, but the end of the quarter, which that episode will be up. It's episode 655 on March 30th, end of the month. We'll kind of look back at the first quarter of the podcast. We'll look at the games we played, kind of do a recap. We'll look ahead a little bit at what's to come for the second quarter of the year for the podcast games. But that'll also be the episode where we get a little weird and talk about the other stuff we've been playing, the spreadsheets we've been making, and the numbers we've been tracking, and how much red we've been seeing. So we'll have more on Marathon at that point and our thoughts around it. But next week we'll be back. Vroom vroom, as they say, to talk about F1 race stars, which I believe is just in time for the launch of the season ish.
First
March
race would
9th.
have happened.
Well, there you go. Now that you've enjoyed the first race, you can enjoy a look back at the kart racer spinoff from F1 from 14 years ago or whenever that was.
A
So
bit.
come back and talk with us next week about that. Yeah, a couple more weeks here in quarter one. Enjoy your marathon. Thanks, Bungie. Thank you, Matt. And thank you all out there for listening, watching, and hanging out with us for another week. See you next time. Bye.